in just. Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning to some of you, and bienvenidos, one and all. I'm Sandy Yannone, host of Cultivating Voices live poetry, and it is our first reading of February. And of course, if you've been with us before, you know that that is our Poets Focus, where we feature a theme and follow that up with an open mic. And today we sort of have a double feature. We are featuring the incredible anthology as our Poets Focus, celebrating Black Joy Unbound. It's an exquisite anthology from BLF Press. And we will be following the reading from the anthology with the opportunity for you to be on the open mic as we go to our 90 minutes of the program. Well, again, I'm Sandy Yannone, your host for today. And what can I say? I'm overjoyed. Can one be overjoyed? I actually don't believe that one can be overjoyed. I just think people should be filled with joy. There's no overjoy. It's fabulous. I am, nevertheless, the word is overjoyed. I am overjoyed to be with you all today for this anthology reading and our open mic. If you're just joining us for Cultivating Voices for the very first time, I want to welcome those of you in our audience here live in Zoom, and those of you who are watching us live on Facebook, and of course, the hundreds upon hundreds of you that we know watch our recordings in the subsequent weeks after the program. We are so appreciative of all the ways that the 4,500 plus members in our group engage with poetry. We are, as I've mentioned, we're a group of intersectional, intergenerational, international group, and we began in March of 2020. So this is we're heading into our 4th anniversary year. Well, today, as I mentioned, we are celebrating and featuring the just illustrious, illuminating, vibrant, incredibly vibrant anthology, Black Joy Unbound. And with us today are the poets Jasminum McMullen, Triston Dabney, Doris Davenport, Renée Bess, Keisha-Gaye Anderson, Akua, Lezli Hope, Regina YC Garcia, Whitney French, Laura Doyle, Péan, and Taylor Renee King, and Yeva Johnson. And we also welcome the editors of this anthology, Stephanie, Andrea Allen, and Lauren Sherrill. Much gratitude for your vision and persistence and bringing this anthology together. Well, before we go to hear from the anthology readers, I'd just like to have Stephanie come on for a few minutes and talk with us a bit about the anthology. And mostly I'd love to hear, Stephanie, how you conceived of and developed the vision of this anthology, and what was it like for you to put this together?
Oh, thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you for extending an invitation to collaborate on this event. I think it's wonderful that you're featuring so many of our amazing poets. We had 28 folks that we published in this anthology, and we've never had that many before. So it's really, wonderful for us to be able to work with so many different writers. I know we have a lot of prose writers too, but the book is a lot of poetry, which is not necessarily my chosen genre, but I love it, but it's not something that I do a whole lot of work in. So we were really, really excited to see so many poets, and that folks really just, and the theme of the book really speaks really well to poetry as a medium, and I think that was perfect. And so we were really excited, and just so many folks that we had read before, new poets, who are contributors to this anthology, and it just really just made our hearts happy. But in terms of why we came to this theme, I'm just tired of people writing about Black trauma, period.
There we go,
That's really what
period.
it
There it
is,
is.
that
There it is.
I'm just not interested in that. And for the most part, BLF Press has not ever been interested in that. So we've published all kinds of work for sure. And sometimes those themes come up. But we wanted this anthology really to just center on Black joy. I think that Audre Lorde says that, we were never meant to survive. And so what I say is, but yet we're here, and so that in itself is a reason for us to be joyful, that we're still here surviving and some of us thriving, and it is our hope that we can all thrive. But we wanted this book to really explore the various iterations of Black joy. And interestingly enough, some folks don't know what that means. We had to reject a lot of folks who didn't understand that Black joy did not mean writing about Black pain, and I think that that is something that I would challenge all of us to do a little bit of work on, to be able to express what joy means for Black folks in a world that is, seemingly always trying to find a way to oppress us further, So we want it to be joyful, and that's what we set out to do. And this book is just a wonderful embodiment of all of that. Beautiful writing, just really, really beautiful writing. And so we're just excited that the book came out the way that it did. Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's so much in what you've just shared, and that one of the things that's so powerful for me
Mhm.
as a poet is thinking about you sitting there as the editor saying to me, poetry is not really my genre, my genre. I like it, but it's not usually my thing. And yet you found the capacity to lean into that. And
Mhm.
also, as an editor, really recognize that the genre itself
Mhm.
really did lend itself
Mhm.
to these really important, um I won't say messages, but missives, like missives to the world,
Mhm.
that 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 joy and fulfillment and recognition of that is as necessary for survival, not just survival, for thriving, as you said,
Yeah.
as anything. And in fact, it's probably essential for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
I'm a student of literature though. So I mean, for me, I'm a firm believer that people should be able to write in all forms. And so I write poetry myself. It's not my jam, but I appreciate and love it in a way that, that it is sometimes a medium with which a message should be shared. And I think that that is important to me as someone who also writes, as well as edits, as well as teaching writing, as well as literature. So I think it's important that people can do both. And that's something that I've, invested in. So now everybody doesn't have to do that. But for me, it's important that not only can I read and understand poetry, but also understand its usefulness and its beauty. I think that as someone who just loves art and loves the written word, that's important for me. And so even though poetry is not my chosen genre to write in, I am a prose writer for the most part. That does not mean that I could not understand the value of good poetry and to know it when I see it, because I am a student of literature, which means I also study poetry and I love beautiful lines. I love lyricism. I love the rhythm of language. And so for me, as much as that's not the thing that I do the most, it's something that I enjoy and that I knew that we could produce, I think, a beautiful book because both Lauren and I understand the value of different forms of writing. And so that's why this was important for us too.
well, thank you again for bringing the book. And shall we listen to those amazing voices now?
Please.
Yes, let's go. Let's not
Yes.
hear my voice. Let's hear let's hear the true voices for today. Thank you again. That's Stephanie Andrea Allen, co-editor of the anthology Black Joy Unbound. along with co-editor Lauren Sherrill. Well, folks, I want to remind you that we will be having a limited open mic after our featured readers today. I'll be introducing each briefly, but you'll be seeing their full bios in the chat. And please use the chat generously to show your appreciation and your love and appreciation and joy for this unbound, joyful reading that we're about to hear from today. And truly sit back and hear this incredible anthology unfold before your very ears and eyes. Well, our first reader today is Jasminum McMullen. Jasminum has work extensively published and is forthcoming in Mamas, Martyrs, and Jezebels, a Black Lawrence Press anthology that will be released this month, February 2024. Jasminum holds an MFA from Vermont College of Fine Arts and lives in the Chicagoland area with her wife and her senior chihuahua. Welcome to you. Thank you for kicking off this incredible reading.
Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. All right. First piece is Too Alone in Public. I want to hold down the beach sands with you. Describe the sounds waves make until daybreak. Skinny dip in the depth of your stare. Soak up the silence underneath the moonlight and eavesdrop on the conversation between our hearts. Stars beat in the sky for us. The 808 thump of it summons a flirtatious wind. A gentle kiss through your hair sprouts wings, flies into the stick of your lip gloss, and hangs there like broken cobwebs anchoring the top of a door frame, interrupting the thought train advancing. You tunnel your mouth with intimate requests. Pull up to my drive-through, speak ear. I tell you, I can serve it fast, but you'll have to eat it slow. A gasp fills the space between your giggled response to provoking the slick talk in me. Sirens smile lust, spread and rise to the surface of my skin, and I glow brighter than the moon because of you, and hard as stone where it counts. You are dynamite fine with a lit fuse. I'm weak like rotted wood fences when I'm near you. I'm weak like Maxwell House Sanka with an ice cube. I am under your spell like a slip of paper beneath a book of black magic, holding the details. Mix well in your heated cauldron. And even though I caused the fire, know that I am not fire retardant. So when the flame roars, I'm consumed by it, ashes to ashes. I don't mind it, as long as we are two alone in public, touching in private. Thank you.
There it is, our first reading from the anthology today, Black Joy Unbound. That's Jasminum McMullen. Magical, absolutely magical. Thank you. Our next reader is Triston Dabney, and Triston is a senior undergraduate and Oprah Winfrey Scholar in Baltimore, Maryland. There you go, Kim. There's your Baltimore. Triston is doing the good work, has been publishing in Obsidian Arts and Literature of the African Diaspora, the Timberline Review, Invisible City Literary Journal, and is a Best of the Net nominee. That's pretty great for an accomplished senior undergraduate. Well done. Thank you, Triston.
Hi, thank you guys for just to be here. I want to thank all the editors, and I want to thank everyone that's here today. I'm just really grateful to be able to read this poem. It's called Recently, and I wrote this while living in France in 2021. So I was going through some things, and I think that something beautiful came out of it. This is called Recently. I find myself setting a fire of laughter and front teeth at the sounds of children. I see the path of God within our smile lines. I find myself crying at every song and wave, as does an infant discovering life for the first time, as though a caveman who has just now rendered heat from his own fire. If I could give it a name, this existent joy, I'd call it Maya. My soul now stretching as I rise. Thank you.
That's Triston Dabney, everyone. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. Keep writing, my friend. We need your voice in the world. Absolutely. Thank you. Well, what I appreciate is that our next reader shared with us that this week was her birthday. So I want to extend the most gracious happy birthday to Doris Davenport, and say also that what I am really appreciating about this anthology, everyone, is that it is intergenerational, truly intergenerational, and we really value that here on Cultivating Voices. So thank you so much for bringing the voices of the decades to us in this anthology. Well, Doris Davenport is a lesbian feminist, performance poet, writer, educator, and scholar, and a visionary 75-year-old member of the international intergalactic LGBTQ plus nation. We welcome you and your voice to the program, and happy birthday.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, all of you. What happens is when you're born where I was, which was in this magical land colonized as Northeast Georgia, the actual home unceded of the Cherokee Nation, also my home. I was born here in Appalachia, or Appalachia, as some people correct me. So that makes me an Afro-Lation, and we grew up here, and we grew up surrounded by this magical land, as also surrounded by the magic of people like James Brown. So in that context, that's a singer and dancer for some of you who too outside or too young to know, just letting you know. So hey, Margaret. So we grew up with that. And so the other thing is I'm a performance poet, and that means usually I'm moving around and somewhat singing and doing stuff, but I'm trying to sit still and read. I'm going to read my poem about food, but I want to call your attention to page 70, We Come Up by Elizabeth Mudinho. You should buy the book just for that poem alone, which is not mine. It's by Elizabeth, but that's a hot poem. Feast Day. Celebration of the, excuse me, I'm trying not to have bronchitis. Celebration of the 1865 Emancipation Proclamation. As I prepared a feast for my 3 Georgia sisters and me, some kinsperson whom I love, maybe not enough, wants more attention, specifically. So it compelled me back to the store, scrounging the smoked meat section for ham hocks. Possessed, I, a pacifist vegetarian, I was about to bash a small Mexican child in the head. I was about to elbow the elderly, fragile white female to reach that last package in the back. So glad as they made other odious choices, leaving me with the prized last package. But to my conscious knowledge, I have never prepared this meal, maybe past lifetimes, suppressed, forgotten, denied. Yet here they bubble in my cauldron pot, covered in alchemical hot water, collards, onions, cayenne, black pepper, salt, whatever else I got to cover that smell, to season that taste. With this prayer, oh dear benign deceased ancestors, oh, foremamas and male creators too, Let me praise you in all I do. I will serve your memory every day. But this is it with the ham hocks today, okay? No more. Enjoy. Thank you.
I might have to leave the program and go get a ham hock. That is Doris Davenport, everyone. And I want to remind you that Doris's new book out last year is Testimony, Proclamations, Poems, Potions, with a few ham hocks. I added those in for good measure. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Doris.
Well, our next reader is Renée Bess, and Renee is the author of not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 novels. 5 novels, my friends. Collection of short fiction, poetry, and essays, and the co-curator of the award-winning anthology, Our Happy Hours, LGBT Voices from the Gay Bars. Would you please welcome Renée Bess?
Thank you very much. I have an admission to make. My contribution to Black Joy Unbound is not a poem. It's a piece of short fiction. However, Stephanie told me that she was sure I would be welcome here because my last published book had a poetry section in it. So I'm going to read a poem that is biographical, autobiographical, and political. And I'm just about 6 weeks behind our last poet in terms of the birthday I'm getting ready to celebrate. The poem is called All the Different People I've Been, in polite terms, of course. And if you have ever had, I'm sure you've had to fill out information about yourself, and they always ask you to check off something indicating your ethnicity or your race. Female infant, colored. Female student, Negro. Female college undergrad, Black. Female grad student, Afro-American. Female teacher, African American. Retired educator, person of color. Writer, BIPOC. The mind fractures in response to which box to check. Other minds become spinning wheels as well, set to stop at Spanish-speaking, Hispanic, Mestizo, Chicano, Dominican, Rican, Boricua, Latino, Latina, Latinx, Cajun, Creole, Geechee. Why is it that all this time, those who label us have remained simply white?
Good question. That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Sandy, you're muted.
Thank you so much. Sometimes it happens. It's often for the better. I was just saying that's Renée Bess, everyone, and that indeed we really do celebrate the prose in poetry and the poetry in prose, and we'll be doing a special hybrid program later on in the year to celebrate our writers here on Cultivating Voices who are multi-genre writers. So you are in very, very good company, Renee. Thank you so much. And when I was muted, I was saying that is the question. Why is the word only white? That is the question. It's a very good question. Well, our next reader is Keisha-Gaye Anderson, and Keisha is a Jamaican-born poet, writer, visual artist based in Brooklyn, New York, and the author of Gathering the Waters, Everything is Necessary, and A Spell for Living. Keisha holds an MFA in creative writing from the City College of New York. And we're so very, very happy to have you with us today, Keisha.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this project. And thank you all for coming together today. I love this. This poem is called Indigo Road. She descends with laughter every time, this ancestor, because how can you ever lose what you are, girl? We walk the indigo road, she says, is so chatty, the mambo needs a sip of cool water. She say, we call Fula, call Yoruba, call Old Kingdom, but be even older than all that. And time demands I come into my mother's house, the living ocean. My mamas be women stepping out of the sky to teach, to shape, to spin the world into balance in their centers. Dissolve the blindness of men with patient blue hands, healing hands, the color that could only come from the volcanic fire of the Great Mother. And I am them too. They have never let me go. She wants me to know, says we are still working for the new time, the new day that requires new language to purge the thickness of electric living, information quicksand, dull drone of destruction stacked in steel and cinder over our graves. I will stay on the path, Mother. Thank you.
Well, you can find Keisha-Gaye Anderson in Brooklyn, New York. And in 2018, I love to share some of these accomplishments that folks have had. She was selected as a Brooklyn Public Library Artist in Residence. Well done, well done. Everyone, please do feel free to peruse the bios that are in full detail in the chat. These are rich, full writers' lives that we're seeing here today on Cultivating Voices, live poetry. And I'm only really able today because of the number of folks we have reading from the Black Joy Unbound anthology today. I'm really only able to give a snippet of each person's bio. So you'll learn much about how to get involved and where to possibly publish and other considerations of literary matters from all of these folks' very illustrious biographies. Well, next we will hear from Àjọkẹ Bọ, and Àjọkẹ is a Nigerian writer and editor whose work has appeared in the White Review, of course in Black Joy Unbound and Anthology, and has been shortlisted for the Murky New Writers Prize and the White Review Poets Prize. It is an incredible joy to have you on the program with us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Àjọkẹ Bọ, and it's currently 9:30 p.m. here in Abuja, Nigeria. So I hope you enjoy my poem. I'll be reading on the 8th day. On the 8th day, guests flood in, shoes gather like debris on your doormat, a rainbow of kitten heels, slacking slings, palm slippers posing in new sheen, men in fila, talking drums underneath armpits, each stud a name. Inside, elders are shelved beside each other, bookmarked by walking sticks. They chew loudly on kola nut. Here, there are gifts you do not open alone. And so the baby is wrapped in embroidered lace ivory, cooing while she sleeps. In the fullness of her lips, spread of her nose. She resembles her father. The squeeze of her coils matches yours. Is she going to get darker, like us, brave little girls you've helped into dresses? You nod your head and watch the black in your eyes beam. Thank you so much.
Absolutely beautiful. Àjọkẹ, thank you for joining us this evening. I always do like to
Thank you.
remind folks that we are in multiple time zones around the world, and it is about 9:30 there in Nigeria. We are very, very honored to have you with us this evening.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.
Well, our next writer, well, I feel like you're my new best friend, actually. I can't wait to come to Corning and meet you. Is Akua Lezli Hope. And Akua has written embouchure poems on jazz and other musics, them gone and otherwise, speculative poetry, which won the Elgin Award in 2021. And she edited Nombono, the first anthology of speculative poetry by BIPOC creators, as well as creating the Speculative Sunday Poetry Reading Series. I'll look forward to talking more about all this speculation later with you. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm wondering, given that our audience is international, if I should read the notes before I read the poem, and I'll do that briefly. Bessie Coleman was the first African-American and first woman to be awarded a pilot's license in the US, and she received hers 2 years before Amelia Earhart. Dr. Mae Jemison is the first African-American female astronaut, and Uhura, a fictional character portrayed by actor Nichelle Nichols, said the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King urged her to remain on the now famous Star Trek series when she considered leaving. The poem is Pilot. My co-pilot says nothing of my cockpit juju. After hundreds of hours and tens of thousands of miles through clouds, our successful Earth-circling transport assures him, I believe we ask for each other an easy team, yet one I must manage more than I prefer. I like a bit of banter, and someone who knows when silence leads speed to adjustments as we clamber above dwindling skyscrapers to kiss blue sky. I like telling folks where to look and what's approaching. I shape it, not too chatty, not too crisp, have them feel guided and not directed. Put my spin on this American construct, show and tell. We'll have to circle New York City. Path of our arrival today will take us over Yankee Stadium and past the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island on the left. Won't say where all 4 grandparents landed. Won't say over Harlem, where they lived within 4 blocks of each other. Will remember they saw Bessie Coleman barnstorming, told me, first Black, first woman to get her pilot's license before Amelia, though sure, we flew without vehicles. Bessie sharecropped, laundered, then hairdressed to earn money, studying, then studying French in Chicago, to study flying in France just after First World War. Woman with wings, with wings, with wings, my patron saint, sharp in the aviatrix outfit she commissioned. Leather jacketed, helmeted, a fox of an ace, and Uhura, not real but necessary pretending, on a cardboard set to be a fly sister in space, inspiring Dr. May J. to astronautical pioneering, my triumvir and gold wing charm from my parents, pouched, cosseted, and near in my command center, in my organ field of lights and switches, before the clear treble strength windshield above the nose, where sometimes I will hear the song of nothing in the dim hum of earth and all. And I wink out and on again. A screaming blink tells me power is gone. Chalk and gasoline in my mouth. My stomach both punch and the fist. Lightning flash, iron scent, polycarbon funk, then open palm. Deep breathe. Check the gear. Co-pilot white as a cloud, making calls, ghosting already, forestalling a bleak inevitable. When inertia is your friend, when up is up, so stay up. When go is go, so stay going. And all you know is not enough, so use your unknowing. Through ear unpowered, too heavy for thermals, just so high, so high, so high up in the sky, how grave mass becomes, impetus of moving, moving on, calculated trajectories, inertia moving my metal body. What skill to bring to bear after years and years and tears of calculating angles, patterns, pass. If I had the wings of a dove, if I had the wings of a dove, I would fly away home, fly away home. Grandmother singing comes to me, oh, mama, all my ever-loving gone, sing me, guide me, lead me on, drop me in the water. Did Tubman, ground-bound, guiding hundreds to freedom, safety, ever lose a passenger? Movering, movering, nor will I. Lives nested in fragile shells. We're gonna land with eggs unbroken. My gear extends, my metal wings feather. Blue appears to greet me. I'm piloting this plane to glory. Pilot.
Oh, there it is. Piloting the plane to glory. Akua Leslie Hope. Thank you. And I always appreciate a poem that tells history as it is. I don't say rewrites history because it wasn't written correctly the first time. So it's not rewritten. This is the true telling. Wow. Beautiful poem. Thank you so much. Folks, you are here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. You are hearing the poetry of the anthology, Black Joy Unbound, edited by Stephanie Andrea Allen and Lauren Sherrill. And we've been hearing an absolute carousel of voices today from the anthology. And next, we get to hear a voice that we are very fortunate that we hear with relative frequency here on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry. That's Regina YC Garcia. And just a little bit about Regina. If you've not heard Regina before, Regina YC Garcia is a Star American Heritage Literary Award winner and a pushcart nominee, a language artist, and an English professor from Greenville, North Carolina. We had the pleasure of hearing poetry from her debut chapbook, The Fire Talker's Daughter, which was published by Finishing Line Press. And I'm sure that after you hear Regina, you will want to get that chapbook and listen to her as much as you possibly can. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing anthology. And of course, for being here with us once again on Cultivating Voices. Regina, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just home. That's what I say. I'm
That's
just
right.
home. And I'm glad I have my Black Joy Unbound friends with me. I'm so excited. I can hardly believe that I am amongst the wonderful writers that have contributed to this anthology. It is one of the favorite anthologies that I've ever submitted to, so I'm very excited about that. And I bring you greetings from Afro Carolina. I am from North Carolina, as stated earlier, and as I've listened to all of you, no matter where your voices come from, where your spirit has been, I feel this connection. And I thank you for sharing your work in this very important work. The title of this poem is To Whom It May Concern, Black Joy. Upon the purchase of a Black History Month t-shirt, one that almost shut me down in my local Target, chanting at me from the racks, radiate Black joy. I determined that it was my time to shine, radiate, unwind all of my joy. Yet, as I lay the shirt across my bed, face set on grateful for my find, my ancestors moved from my belly up into my opened ears, and I heard their whispers, words not relegated to the intentional traditional observations of Black history. I stood, picked up the shirt, slid it over my head, and was divinely compelled to consider, to list the layers for myself and others of what it means to radiate Black joy. For if we are honest, this Black joy as a construct is shaped by the misshapen circumstances of history. For indeed, Black joy is what is birthed between bouts of Black pain. It is molded to sustain. It is compelled to keep moving through one degree of uncertainty to the next. It is the production of delicacies from disposable waste. It is the retention of the spirit that has been carried in ancestors from generation to generation, hidden and released in clearings, introduced through uttered prayers and praise, and it emerges in various forms, sometimes like tears, sometimes like immovability. It can even hide under other feelings, mask in mysteries, cloak in glances, in ways of speaking, laugh behind closed eyes and lips, while yet another layer of joy plants the seeds of the knowledge that there are golden pieces of Black gifting, of Black strength, even of Black prophecy that cannot be removed from Black existence. That is Black joy, knowing that even in derision, there is provision in this joy that secrets us and the gifts that save us. This joy that reminds us that trouble don't last always, and weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning light. And at times, good times, Black joy requires Black bodies to throw back their heads and laugh loudly and move freely, play spades, the dozens, dance, love, create, share, care, save the whole world. The children know that there is love just there in Black joy. And for all who may be concerned, know this: while this joy is juxtaposed to pain, the glory is that it can emerge again and again. Black joy, shine, radiate, refine, create more and more. Great God, Black joy. You tell anyone else who wants to know, just tell them to go on and know that there is more in store from this brilliant, unbelievably resilient Black joy. Thank you.
Okay, you worked it. Okay, you worked it. You worked it. I just had to say that. Okay, bye.
I understand why everyone would want to
Reach.
everyone want to unmute after that. That is Regina YC Garcia, always bringing it to the program here, always bringing it to the program. And what a contribution to this just illuminating, as I said, vibrant, you know, incredibly power-filled anthology. Black Joy Unbound. Thank you for that litany of Black joy. We'll see you again very soon. Well, our next reader is Whitney French. And Whitney is a Toronto writer, a multidisciplinary artist and publisher, and editor of the award-winning anthology Black Writers Matter, and of Griot, 6 Writers' Sojourn into the Dark. It's amazing to have you joining us today from Toronto. Thank you and welcome.
Hey everyone, greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good night. I want to thank the editors of this beautiful anthology. Just look at this thing. She's so pretty. I want to thank all the organizers for this event. I want to thank all of the people who have spoken, the contributors who have read. Also, Regina, thanks for making me even more nervous than I was before, because you brought us to church and now I gotta follow, but it's all good. We are here. Yeah, reading and celebrating Black joy is beautiful and complicated and confounded and necessary 365 days of the year. And I would be remiss not to mention that we exist in simultaneous suffering and joy. And so I want to bring into the room, and when we think about joy, we also have to be considerate of the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza, the atrocities in the Congo, and the devastation in Sudan. The poet's role is to speak truth to power. So as we celebrate Black joy, we also have to be mindful of the world around us. So I just want to take a moment for that. The poem that I'm going to read today is called Peppa, not Pepper, Peppa. And it's dedicated to my grandmother after she told me the things that brought her joy when she was young. So this is for my grandma. Peppa. Let yourself get lost in the rhythm. Free up like double Dutch, where timing meets teamwork, my feet free of a peppa, in rhythm of dollar store plastic pink, slapping black off hot tarmac, back into heartbeat consistency, choosing wonder as lifestyle, as rhythm, made my hands of budding Black girls. This joy requires a level of faith, nothing more holy than honey, fallen blessings, heavy on melanated knees, sinking verses to the song of rope. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That is Whitney French, everyone, joining us from Toronto, Canada. Wonderful to have you. And I just want to mention that Whitney is the co-founder of Hush Harbor, which is the only Black queer feminist press in Canada. So please pay lots of attention to Whitney, because she is doing the work. She is doing the work. See you in Toronto. Be well, my friend. Well, our next reader is joining us also from Canada, and that is Laura Doyle Péan. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm joining in from Àjọkẹ Bọ, which is the territory of the Kanien'kehá:ka people, who are the keepers of the eastern door of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. I am so delighted to be here. I've been just having a wonderful time. It's really an honor to share this space with all of you, and just huge thank you to the editors and to Cultivating Voices for this moment and for building community around this project. Yeah, I'm just really, really thrilled. I'm going to be reading the poem that I published in the Anthology, which is entitled Spa Day at Aunt Mijo's. My cousin drops 3 droplets of oil on my head, massages my scalp. I sink in. Closed eyes, slowed breathing. We hum morning songs and celebration hymns, welcome the new year, thank the ancestors for independence. She says it will restore the moisture. I have always been skeptical of hair product manufacturers selling us happiness in a bottle. Are you convinced your body doesn't already have all it needs? Skeptical, I remain for a while, and she proves me wrong. For days, I will gaze into the mirror, stunned by the renewed vigor of my curls. There was still life here. Adrienne Mary Brown says pleasure is a measure of freedom. We will be free once everyone has access to the full range of pleasure they can access. We must do the work of deconstructing the systems and institutions, robbing our children, our sisters, our trans siblings, and our men of their joy. We must create opportunities to feel that joy. Remember how powerful it is. We must nurture it as if our life depended on it. It does. My cousin sits down, orders me to raise my left foot. The pressure she applies under my arc brings the tingle all the way up to my heart. I jump at the newfound sensation. My aunt laughs. Everything is connected, she says. My cousin repeats the gesture with my right foot. Everything is connected, repeats my aunt. Your grandma knew this and would rub Vicks all over our feet during the cold season to kick out any sickness. My sunshine giggles. Their mother had the same remedy. A warning or a recipe for liberation. Everything is connected, and everything that grows and heals starts from the grassroots level. Don't forget to care for your feet. Don't forget to care for the land your feet walk on. Don't forget about the lands you walk on. Black liberationist, womanist, and Afrofuturist writer and activist Trisha Hersey speaks of rest as resistance in a society that has already stolen so much labor from Black folks, communities, and nations, and continues to expect us to exhaust ourselves for the benefit of the capitalist economy. Through her work at the NAP Ministry, she drives people to reimagine what rest can look like and to make it a priority in their lives. In the collective map spaces she creates, she encourages us to dream more, to love more. Exhaustion will not save us, she reminds us. Rest will. My sunshine kisses my lips, and my body is submerged by the seashore waves at sunset. I cry, releasing of all the tension carried by my great-great-grandma, my grandma, my parents, me. I've come to learn not all ties have been severed with the spirits. They've always been with me, in my bones, my DNA, my dreams. I had just forgotten my way to them. Thank you.
That's just stunning. That is Laura Doyle, Péan, and with her recipes for liberation. Recipes for liberation. There it is. And I want to also remind you folks, be sure that you check out the publications of folks. Laura's debut collection, Cour Yo-Yo. or Yo-Yo Heart was published in 2020. And you should definitely look that book up from 87 Press. Thank you so much. Beautiful reading. Well, we have the pleasure now of going down to New Orleans and hearing from Taylor Renee King, who's originally from Birmingham, Alabama. Taylor's called New Orleans home since 2017 and is a 2021 graduate of Xavier University. And I'm thrilled to have you here with us as you continue to pursue now your master's degree at Texas Southern University. It is a great joy, of course, to have you with us today, Taylor, with a friend also.
My sunshine, Amir, and I just want to first say thank you so much for this opportunity. This is my first time ever being published. This is also my first time speaking this poem, my first time in motherhood. It's just a lot of firsts. So I'm so grateful for this opportunity to be in this anthology. I'm so grateful for this opportunity for me to speak right now. And yes, so this poem is called Holding the Sun. To have the honor to experience a love greater than all the love I have known, just a taste will suffice. When I sit back and think about the many times I was in love, or so I thought, this has to be the most true. An unconditional love without a qualification, without an expectation, without a justification. Just me and you half of me, all of you. For 9 months, I held the sun, and now I walk alongside it. I need some Florida water to cleanse my hands for holding you, and to cleanse my feet and walk next to you. Light some sage to even think of you. Baby, it's only pure air that my I love you cascade in before they dance in your ear. I was chose despite of my flaws and shortcomings, insecurities, traumas, ego. To my sunshine or my SON shine, my gift, I have had the privilege to be a vessel for your transformation into the physical realm, and I am honored. Thank you.
That is Taylor Renee King with her debut performance of her poem from Black Joy Unbound. You've done it. You did it. There you go. Raise the rafters. There he is. There he is. There he is. Well, I look forward to hearing more from you, Taylor. I look forward to hearing your voice much more. Continued success to you with that master's degree.
Thank you. Thank you.
Be well. Well, folks, our final reader of our anthology reading today on our Cultivating Voices Poets Focus Today from the anthology Black Joy Unbound, I feel is the epitome of Black Joy Unbound. You've been bringing this to our program for years now. This is what you do, Yeva. And I was not surprised to see that you were in the anthology. I was like, how could there be an anthology called Black Joy Unbound without Yeva Johnson in it? So Yeva is a Pushcart Prize nominated poet and musician extraordinaire, as we all know that are here and Cultivating Voices. Yeva's debut chapbook, Analog Poet Blues, was published in 2023 and is going to also be available from Black Lawrence Press. Black Lawrence Press, let's give a big shout out to them too. Great, fantastic press. Well done. Thank you, Yeva, for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I'm so happy to be here today. And Sandy and Kim and Don, thank you for the BLF Press. Stephanie and Lauren, thank you so much. I love this anthology. If you haven't gotten it yet, please get it. And I'm really thankful to all the readers today. I've just been actually mostly listening and enjoying. And so, as I usually do, I'm going to do just one poem, but I'll do a little bit of music just at the beginning, okay? Because it's been so musical. And this poem is called Welcome to the Gender Playground for Mieko Ryu. The day I discovered a person could choose more than one pronoun, the world expanded in multiple directions, and my panda love found better bamboo forests to call home. The radical magnet, both drawn to and attracting the feminine in every person I met. That feminine, the nip to the cat within, romped untamed, but always seen. The dolphin swimmer carried the queer lesbian who held hands with the they-them of me on her broad brown back, and we all smiled free in the sun. When they called me them, I felt so warm inside that ice cream didn't stand a chance, because I became a femme with a scoop of neutral on top, reaffirming my inclination as a child to choose the gender that, in those days, could wear dresses and pants as the one I liked the best. When they called me a gay man in a lesbian's body, I let it go because the gay man in me was so turned on by those scenes in Moonlight, one black man reaching, touching, loving another, even my guerrilla philosopher poet, usually reticent to share, burned up every time we watched it. Old as I am, I learned to repurpose queer, hold the word in my mouth with pride, let shame dribble out the sides to the pavement so that I could become the butch in blossom, or the swirl mixed in with everything good, the androgynous of fun expressions. When I took time off from being the girly girl inside the woman who could not share her name, this butterfly post-chrysalis, this bug under the tip of your shoe, I discovered I'm the yes and gender. Look out, it's me. Thank you all so much.
That's absolutely beautiful. Let's all go to the gender playground. Let's all go. That's Yeva Johnson, everyone. A reminder that Yeva's debut chapbook is Analog Poet Blues. And she's been publishing up a storm or storms all around the US. So keep looking out for Yeva's incredible voice. And we are fortunate that we get to hear your voice often. And we're looking forward to our Poetry Pride Parade coming up later this year. Yeah. From San Francisco, my friends, we'll be doing our Poetry Pride Parade. So, folks, I would like to just say first, thank you to one and all and of our featured guests from the Black Joy Unbound.
Please let us clap, Sandy.
Okay, I'm gonna, because I know you're going to spontaneously combust otherwise. So folks, please do take a moment and let's unmute and show your joy for this
you.
Unbelievable display of art and truth and beauty and joy.
Yes.
Yay! 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 Everybody, let's hear it
So
for Black
good.
Joy.
So good.
Make some noise. Make some noise. Okay, okay.
So much joy.
Well done, Stephanie. And Renee. Well done. Woo! Wow, bringing these voices together, beautiful. Well, I just said, you know, I'm so taken by this reading today, I forget to unmute. I think this is the first time I've not unmuted this many times because I'm just like, woo! I was saying, first of all, thank you, Stephanie and Lauren, for having the vision for this anthology of art, truth, beauty, poetry, and joy, all of it in one place, from voices around the world, intersectional voices around the world, in a really, really necessary, significant, power-filled anthology. And I also said, we're getting ready to move to our open mic now. And who knows, maybe there'll be a Black Joy Unbound too. And maybe you all can be in that. Well, you know Michael Anthony Ingram, our first reader from Quintessential Listening, that poetry podcast of power and significance. You've heard it, and now it's going to video.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome to you in the new year, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, as I was listening, I thought to myself, these people, these poets, they're the reason why I continue with my podcast. You're the reason why I do what I do. And if you'd like to be a guest on Quintessential Listening, Poetry Online Radio, and YouTube, just let me know. The poem I'd like to share, the title is based on Ayn Rand's book, Atlas Shrugged. The poem itself is titled Black Atlas Shrugged. Black Atlas Shrugged. They had made him a world and forced him to carry it on his back. They thought it would break him, silence him, and weaken him. He had been colonized to not question, bastardized to destroy family and kindred affections, and subsidized to ensure that he did not make the connection. Black Atlas shrugged again. They had made him a world and forced him to carry it on his back. A world where marginalization and fear permeated the air, stifling his creativity, suffocating his sense of humanity, channeling his energies in directions that exhausted his resistance and made him deny the majesty of his ancestral existence. Black Atlas shrugged again. For they had made him a world and forced him to carry it on his back. A world that created a codependence and made him feel as if he could not live without assistance. Black Atlas shrugged again. They had made him a world and forced him to carry it on his back. Yet like a coat that does not fit, one day he lifted it off his back and held it above his head, for their world was not big enough to contain his mind, was not strong enough to break his back, was not proud enough to possess his spirit, and like a toy tossed unconcernedly from a small child's hands, he dropped their world to the ground beneath his feet, and from the debris that reeked of indignity and false superiority, he reached down and created his own world, a world made from the rich, sweet-smelling clay found on the shores of West Africa and in the depths of the Atlantic Ocean, dark clay that told the story of separation from the motherland, the Middle Passage, and the sands of a foreign land. Yes, he made his own world, fashioned from the soul of Martin, the song of Billy, and the style of Langston, a world that embraces his color and gave him the strength and the resilience to uplift both his sister and his brother. Black Atlas shrugged no longer, for he had made his own world, and he held it above his head and said loudly, "See, God, see, God, it is as you said it would be." Thank you.
Oh. Okay, Michael.
Thank you.
That is Michael Anthony Ingram.
And there are some requests, Michael, if you feel comfortable sharing your contact in the chat so that some of these poets
Okay.
can reach out to you.
All
I
right.
shared your
I like
public
that.
group sites,
Oh,
but
yeah.
if you
This
want to
is-
share a contact, you may, sir.
I had to be here. I love coming here. Cultivating Voices is just phenomenal. Potentially, no, not potentially. It's the most welcoming Facebook group for poets that I've been a part of. And it's a blessing for me to be able to just come here and rest and scream if I want to, moan if I want to, growl if I want to. And it's all right. It's all right. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for coming, screaming, moaning, and growling every time. Every time. It is an incredible experience with you. It is an incredible experience with you. Thank you. I'm so glad you were here today. I can't even tell you. Yeah, and also to hear you. Thank you so much. That's Michael Anthony Ingram. Folks, really quintessential listening, poetry online and on YouTube now. If you've not heard the program, you definitely want to be listening to this program. The programs are just exceptional, and Michael is the quintessential host. There is no question. There is no question. Well, we continue with our open mic portion of the reading today with, I'm going to say Jeanne, and please correct my pronunciation. There's many ways we could pronounce your beautiful, beautiful name.
Yes, that's how you pronounce it. I wasn't expecting to be reading today. I came here as part of the Whitney French Hype Squad, but I felt really called to, and just gratitude to everyone who's read. It's been really beautiful. I'm going to read my poem Resuscitation that was published in Anathema issue 17. Let's take a deep breath first. What would it mean to let go? To depart from where we think of ourselves safe, shuck the husk of others' understanding and belief impossible, shuck the barriers of fearful shame and shameful fear, call off the search for another to home this vessel, call off the desperation for correct being, be impossibly here, where we left ourselves, where we left what care for us all along. So we purge the soil of the invasive refuse of too different and indifference, witness their sour forms crumple under the persistent delicateness and balmy determination in our palms, begin again by massaging it with the abidingness of time honored, not taken to live and lived enacted, then seed with dreams allowed to stumble and shift yet still bloom, nourish with an exhale of what wonders. Thank you.
Beautiful, Beautiful. That's Renee, everyone. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you were inspired to read, for us to be able to hear your voice. Come on back and read with us again, please. Beautiful work. Well, folks, this reading today is an abundance of voices for sure. And we are fortunate always when we get to hear the voice of Lynda VE Crawford. Welcome, Lynda. Great to have you here today.
Thank you so much. And I just have to say that, you know, I've been here on several occasions, but the smile I saw today, amazing. I mean, we were all smiling as though we were children, as though we were first experiencing joy. I especially saw it on Yeva's face, and I thought, wow. And then the young woman, I don't quite remember her name, who read for the first time, published for the first time. So a lot of smiles. I'm almost giggling. Anyhow, I'm going to read a poem that it was just published in the Moonstone Art Center's 27th annual anthology. No special theme, just a collection of poems that they do once a year, just gather from as far afield as possible. I love the music of Louis Armstrong. I was looking at that iconic photo, January 28th, 1961, of him and his wife at the pyramids. And ever so often I look at it, and one day I said, let me imagine what occurred in that moment, and it led to this imagined poem. Louis serenading at Hore Maquette, the place in the sky where the sun rises. To Lucille, I jazz my lips for you, curve them to caress your strength, envelop your protective love. For you, I swirl the flow of time, wet green or sand and desert life. Hear me kiss you with my notes. My constant, full, and forthright love vibrates with a lover's plea. Show me your lasting universe. To the Sphinx, see my forever wife gaze up at me. She sits steadfast, luscious erect, silent guard, enticing. Me into her, she into me, we into you. Preserve our essential trilogy. Send your son to our earth mothers. Hear us. Hear our trumpet peal of memories. Hear our eternal serenade. Thank you. I might add, though, by the way, have researched and have yet to determine what few notes Satchmo played in that moment before that photo was taken. Thank you.
Well, some work left to do then there. Some work left to do. That is Lynda VE Crawford. Louis Armstrong. Wow, what a incredible. Well, folks, we have just a few minutes left of the program, and we've got a few more folks to read. And our next reader today, we've had a beautiful showing today from the folks, for me, up north, Canada. Max Vandersteen, welcome.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Wonderful readings today. Glad to be listening to all these wonderful poets. My poem's not quite as joyful as some of the anthology poets, but it is a poem I wrote in admission, in admiration and celebration of, as the poem's called, our empire builders. Goes to a new world, transported from the old, bodies beaten and bartered, bodies sold, for empires built on nations in the name of gold. Whips and ships and scripts and reigns by chains, colonies created in the midst of bloodstains for corporate profit, dividends, and personal gains. Merciless commerce counted in shattered souls, the subsequent so cruel toll of cultural controls, and forsaken families, all for glorified goals. Populations harnessed and broken from their roots, and transplanted plantations of heartless fruits, unjustly to recompense a master's more selfish pursuits. Economics of color and politics, of caste and race, human ethics truly belied by a mortal disgrace of bondage, serfdom, and servitude in its place. Thank you.
That's Max Vandersteen joining us. Thank you so much, Max. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
And now we go across the pond over to Ireland and we'll hear from Catherine Ronan.
Hey everyone, fantastic evening here. I live in West Cork, Ireland, and Cork has a huge connection to Frederick Douglass, slave. He advocated for slave abolition. So this is the poem that I put forward for the Frederick Douglass competition. It's called Gumboots. What allows a man to call me boy? Dark, deep minds, not even a whisper. Tunneling to God, they see gold, blood on the rocks, a scratch of rebellion. Extinguished? No, I still live, dance in my gumboots. Chains find songs to sing, inch by inch, clink by clink. All will follow, bar by bar, tier by tier, strain by strain, to freedom.
That's Catherine Ronan joining us from West Cork. Thank you, Catherine. Great to hear you. Well, you know, folks, every now and then I chime in. I don't always read a poem, but I feel really moved today to read a poem from my upcoming collection that's dedicated to a dear colleague of mine, Kabby Mitchell III. And Kabby Mitchell was, and in my mind, of course, still is, he was the first African-American principal ballet dancer of Pacific Ballet Northwest. And he passed away in 2017. And this is a poem, before he passed, he started the Tacoma Urban Performing Arts Center in Tacoma, Washington, otherwise known as Tupac. So this is a poem that I want to read in his honor today. I think he would have loved being here because Kabby Mitchell, if you've ever seen him dance, he was all about Black joy. He was all about Black joy. So this poem for him, and then we'll hear from Triston Dabney. The Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters. For Kabby Mitchell III, 1956 to 2017. At the Quality Inn off Aurora and John, I greet an elder brother with a particular train car cap on his head, a Pullman porter who has stepped out of time while we wait to ride the elevator with my grief and gratitude and whatever else he has brought from his travels. Oh my gosh, there he is. Oh my gosh, thank you. I wasn't prepared to see my friend. Okay. There he is. I'll start again. At the Quality Inn off Aurora and John, I greet an elder brother with a particular train cap on his head, a Pullman porter who has stepped out of time while we wait to ride the elevator with my grief and gratitude and whatever else he has brought from his travels. I can see how he purchases and punches tickets, memorizes routes and timetables in the way he cares for me in this moment. I tell him about you. The elevator opens, we step in, we rise up the spine of the hotel, and even though it's just the Quality Inn, nothing ornate or special or flashy, I think about how this unadorned Seattle box might transform into Charlie's great glass elevator and take me to the highest floor of the sky just to be with you a bit longer, knowing I would need to return and not entirely sure why the divine chose this timetable of this appointed hour on this particular day, nestled inside this week, tucked inside this year during this crazed century. Kabby, at the Primo Grill 2 weeks ago, on my last night before leaving for Limerick, we flirted at the bar with disaster. You reluctantly when I suggested that I might not see you again if fate would choose to take me away. You, wide-eyed, incredulous, almost scolding. So I returned, and now you are gone. Strange. It will take my whole rest of my strange life to get used to this estrangement, like meeting a train porter in front of a modest Quality Inn elevator who steps off on my floor and leads me down the hall to his hotel room door, stands there with me for half an hour reciting from John 1, imploring me to consider how I am here and that you are now everywhere as you always have been, with your moonlit eyes and incandescent smile. He stands there, a train porter on break, no stranger to me than a stranger I feel ready to know, like the first time I met you 2 days after 9/11, while we ate a catered chicken lunch from the Southern Kitchen in Tacoma. Your hospitality that day never lost to me after all these years. He stands there in front of that Quality Inn door, room 223, never inviting me in. The train porter just opens his wallet, removes his business card, writes something on the back, and hands it to me as if it were a receipt, and sends me down the hall to find my room, where I fall into my feathered bed, sleep hard, and wake to the day's breaking news of your leaving, spreading across time and these cities we've inhabited like a love train, not entirely desperate to stay true to its scheduled departure. Later, back on campus in Olympia, my students and I marvel at the unannounced thunder for a full 2 hours. There is nothing else we can do after the emergency alarm system promises hail. We wait. The hail does not come. My students turn in their reflections for the week, slightly disappointed. They leave. I walk across campus alone, almost detouring to your office, then drive home through the city, expecting your lightning to strike me dead. And I admit that I almost wish for this. Almost wish for this lightning bolt strike rather than make it home safely to go to bed, only to wake to my first day without you, wondering whether grace can find me if I'm not at the Quality Inn in Seattle on John Street, with train porter Brother Will from Breaking Bread Ministries, looking out for me, looking everywhere for you. That's in honor of Kabby Mitchell III. Well, we have had a most amazing reading today.
And
I'm
one
gonna
one
invite
more
Tristan.
open.
I'm going to invite Triston Dabney.
No, we had one more person, and I don't want him to be left out, which is Isaac Cohen from Israel, who has been waiting patiently too before Tristan. So sorry about that, Sandy.
Thank you. My apologies. Isaac Cohen.
Dear Sandy, dear Dawn, dear Kim, all my friends. To my father, Victor Cohen, peace. Isaac Cohen. The dove at grants of tranquility that I dispersed in the world and flew to foretell peace. Thank you. And I call all my friends in the world to bring the kidnap that was in the darkness, and there one baby, 1 month, Phil Bibes, and maybe God will help to bring him to his family. Thank you.
That's Isaac Cohen, everyone. Thank you, Isaac. And indeed, we all continue to send out this energy.
Yes.
For peace. For peace. Well, our final reader, we're going to bring back Triston Dabney to close us out for today. And again, I just want to say how pleased I am to have been able to curate a reading today with amazing voices across the generations, and to hear the voice of the next generation. And here's Triston.
Thank you. I just wanted to read again because I felt moved after reading all and hearing all of the wonderful poems that have come forth today. And I wanted to read a poem that I wrote called Red Roses. I am looking forward to my bones singing first thing in the morning, jumping into those favorite blue jeans, finding my first exiled silver hair, wandering into someone else's eyes, crying on her lap, leaving him standing there in the rain, shaking hands across that stage, reaching from afar to catch those first steps, twirling in the sun, storming out of that boardroom, fulfilling my mother's dying wishes, rehearsing that speech, tracing my knuckles against his sleeping back, slamming that door on them, combing my daughter's hair, questioning who she is now and where all the time has seemed to have gone. I tell you, you do not have to be everything. Just tender the harvest in your heart, because you'll have so much glory to give. Like to the red roses, teaching their fallen petals to dance with the wind, reminding you that every part of you, in every stage, has the ability to find more life and fearlessly live again. Thank you.
This is perfect close for our day today. That's Triston Dabney, everyone. Well, as you know, I like to say all the names of everyone who's read before we close out a program. And we'll unmute at the end and give our big shout out to all of our readers after I read the names here that we heard from today. At the top of the hour, we began. Well, first of all, we heard from editor of Black Joy Unbound, Stephanie Andrea Allen. Her co-editor is Lauren Sherrill. Thank you, Stephanie, for bringing the following voices to our program today. Jasminum McMullen, Triston Dabney, Doris Davenport, Renée Bess, Keisha-Gaye Anderson, Àjọkẹ Bọ, Akua Lezli Hope, Regina YC Garcia, Whitney French, Laura Doyle Péan, Taylor Renee King, debut performance, Yeva Johnson, and on the open mic, we heard from Michael Anthony Ingram, Jeane, Lynda VE Crawford, Max Vandersteen, Catherine Ronan, Isaac Cohen, a little bit from yours truly, and an encore from Triston Dabney with the red roses. Everyone, would you please unmute and show your deep appreciation for this most special, spectacular display of Black Joy Unbound.
Bravo, fantastic job.
Well, folks, I hope that you have had a joy-filled, energized experience this afternoon. And again, I just want to give that shout out to Stephanie and Lauren for their vision to bring together these spectacular poets. You know, I have the privilege of hosting these programs, and I am always so moved when I am so uplifted. And it is no small thing to be able to create a book that does just that. The collection, the anthology, is Black Joy Unbound. Of course, you'll be seeing all of this tomorrow again on Cultivating Voices Live Poetry with the links to purchase. And I hope that you'll not only purchase one copy, but purchase one for someone that you love, and then another person that you love, and share the Unbound Black Joy. That is from BLF Press. Well, folks, we have opened up February. The skies have been kind to us. We have sung into the skies today. We have sung into the skies. Next week, this reading will carry us for 2 weeks because we're taking 1 week break because many people are traveling, including myself, to the conference in Kansas City, the Associated Writing Programs Conference. I hope anybody here in the room that is going will look for me around the Salmon Poetry booth and or wherever wherever we're traveling, and please stop and say hello, and I'd love to talk with you. We will return, however, on February 18th. It's our February New Book Showcase, and we return with the reprise of our Laureate Love Fest. It's our special Laureate Love Fest New Book Showcase edition, where we will be featuring the following poets laureate. From Maryland, the one, the only, the 92-year-old, 92-year young poet laureate emerita, Grace Cavalieri, will be joining us. We will also have the current poet laureate of New Mexico, Lauren Camp. We will be having the poet in residence of Ireland, which is the equivalent of Ireland's U.S. Poet Laureate, Anne Tanem. And we will have Poet Laureate of Oregon, Emerita, Paul Ann Peterson with us, all with their new books. I hope you'll join us on February 18th, and then we will close out the month with all of you on the 25th. It'll be our wild card open mic. Come on back, share some peace, love, and joy with us. Well, that's the program for today, everyone. Thank you to Don Krieger and Kim Ports Parsons. Big shout out to you because you really did much of the legwork for this program today, working with Stephanie, Andrea, Allen, and bringing these amazing, amazing poets to us today. So thank you so much. Thank you to all of you for staying just a little over to listen. And again, I hope I will see you in Kansas City if you're traveling. Safe travels. And as I always say at the end of every program, take very good care of yourselves. Take exceptionally good care of your beloveds. And look at the boundless, boundless joy that comes when we keep writing. So keep singing your songs, singing your praises, and writing the joy wherever you go. We need it in the world more than ever. We'll see you next time. Be well.